Well, hey, fans, thanks for sticking with us. We've got one more team we're going to preview in this episode, Nashville SC. That's right, Nashville Soccer Club. A team that is brand new to the MLS, an expansion club. We've known them from USL, but obviously this is a brand new franchise in the MLS. Mike, how did you go about putting together some of these notes for an expansion team that we're trying to preview before their first ever MLS season?
You know what? It's really hard. I've been following MLS for about, 12 years or so. And it's really hard to put together a team preview of a team that's never played before. Obviously it's all players in except for somehow they managed to get 2 players out because of the trades they made from the expansion draft. But it's really hard to even kind of fathom what is this team going to look like, what formation they're going to go with. Yeah, you can go with the coach and his previous experience with the USL side. Maybe he's going to coach the same way. It depends on what kind of talent he has, with the type of team that they've built. This is a brand new team from that USL side. So a very, very interesting. So fans, take it easy out there. If we get it wrong and you have more information than we do on this, please let us know. Give us the feedback because, I know nothing about this team. Just going by the little bit that we can find out there as far as the players they brought in and out. So let's get started on those players in. We've got forward Daniel Rios on a free, Cameron Lancaster, midfielder Derek Jones from Philadelphia, David Akam from Columbus, who was previously with Philadelphia and Chicago, Anibal Godoy from San Jose, Hani Mukhtar, their big DP signing, was a transfer from Brøndby over in Denmark. Randall Leal, the transfer from Saprissa, who's getting ready for their Champions League tilt against Montreal in a few days. Dax McCarty, the trade from the Chicago Fire. Dave Romney, trade from the LA Galaxy. Abu Danladi in the expansion draft from Minnesota. Zarek Valentin in the expansion draft. Jaleel Anibaba, expansion draft as well. Brandon Vasquez and Jimmy Madronda from the expansion draft. Joe Willis in a trade from the Houston Dynamo. Adrian Zenadejas from Sporting Kansas City. Daniel Lovitz from Montreal. Oh, Daniel Lovitz. Anybody who is listening to this preview, go ahead and listen to a few previous episodes, especially where we mark some USMNT information, and that will let you know plenty about how we feel about Daniel Lovitz and his adventures along the back line for the USMNT. Anyways, moving on. Matt LaGrassa from USL, Ken Tribbett from the USL, Taylor Washington, Alan Wynn, Eric Miller from the re-entry draft, Dominic Badgie, a trade from FC Dallas, Brian Bekeles, a free transfer, Miguel Nazarit on a free as well, Jack Mayer and the super draft. Yes, the dude that they showed up, a bunch of supporters showed up at his house. That was really awesome. I liked it a lot. They had to have confirmation that he was going to be available at number 2. They had to, because there's no way they were driving a bus there and then find out 5 minutes when they show up, 5 minutes before they get there, that they got, that he got picked up by somebody else. Brian Anunga and Winston Reed on loan from West Ham, the New Zealand captain. Not official, but it's probably going to happen. Lots of reports on that one. And then, of course, the 2 players out that I alluded to were from the expansion draft. Zarek Valentin was traded to Houston, and Brandon Vasquez traded to FC Cincinnati. Okay, I need to catch my breath, Nick. That's a lot of players in, but what would you expect when it's an expansion team? What are your thoughts on these players that they've brought in? There's a lot of guys there.
Oh, no doubt about it. And because of the fact that they're an expansion team and they got to select players in the expansion draft, the re-entry draft, and all this, you've got a lot of kind of well-known MLS names. A couple of the big ones that stand out, David Akam, looking for redemption after maybe not the best stint in Philly, coming off of okay performances in Chicago. And then you've got Dax McCarty coming in on a trade from Chicago. He was an integral part of the Chicago Fire last season, really the leader on the field. I think he was wearing the captain's armband for most, if not all, of that season. Yeah. And we kind of teased the Chicago Fire organization saying, gosh, if old man Dax McCarty is your best player and having a great season, then maybe you're not doing so well with the rest of your roster. But Nashville is really going to look to Dax McCarty to help establish their MLS club culture, to be a leader on the field and in the locker room, and he could have a major impact on how this Nashville franchise kicks off their MLS career. Joe Willis, he's kind of a household name as far as MLS goalkeepers go. He had some good years with Houston and hopefully can continue that. And then Winston Reed, though, that's the biggest news that recently broke, that he is going to be coming to Nashville on loan from West Ham. He's the captain of the New Zealand team, 31-year-old, experienced defender. And as we saw with a lot of expansion teams, giving up goals is a problem. We've seen it with Cincinnati. We've seen it with Minnesota. We've seen it to lesser degrees with Atlanta, but fortunately they could outscore their opponents. The fact that they went out and are trying to get Winston Reed on loan, and it's reportedly going to happen, we'll see exactly what the details are over the next few days, that really could help them not become one of the worst expansion teams in MLS history by just kind of shoring up the defense and having a guy that experienced and that talented to kind of running things along the back line. So those are the big names that stand out to me. The fact that they've already flipped Zarek Valentin and Brandon Vasquez shows that the front office knows what they're doing. They're making good business moves. They're making good roster moves. They didn't take a lot of guys from their USL team. There's a handful of them that are on the roster, most likely going to be for depth as well as to keep some of that goodwill amongst the fans, because the Nashville supporters have been extremely passionate over the last several years about getting an MLS franchise. They've turned out to an excellent USL team, a well-managed, a well-represented USL team, and now they're going to bring that to the MLS. So that's really what I'm excited about as far as the roster building has gone for Nashville. To kind of look at your DPs right now, we've just got Hani Mukhtar as their one DP. So we'll see, maybe Winston Reed, maybe that's the negotiation, is if he's going to come in at a DP level. Most likely he will. But right now they've got Hani Mukhtar. He's a 24-year-old. He's a German international. He's played with the German national youth teams, has yet to break into their senior squad. But as we know, the German squad is stacked, and Yogi Low is really kind of stuck with the old guard, almost to his detriment. So maybe we'll see Hani Mukhtar get a few caps over the next few years with the German national team. But man, the guy's got pedigree. The guy has won wherever he's gone. U19 UEFA champion, Bundesliga 2 champion back in 2013. He's won in the Austrian Bundesliga. He's won in the Danish league. So he has won everywhere he's gone in Europe. And now to have him come over and be your face of the franchise, to be your central striking figure for your expansion team in Nashville, it's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he can figure it out, Mike. What do you think about the DPs and some of the other roster building they've had now that you've gotten to catch your breath a little bit?
Yeah, I'm excited about Mukhtar. I think he can be a good number 10 for Nashville. As you say, the pedigree is there of winning. He's a winner. He won, you went through the list. I mean, this guy just winning a UEFA under-19 championship with Germany and being on the team of the tournament, that is very, very, that really sets a good tone for a guy who could possibly lead the team. Do I expect him to be the captain? I really don't know. I don't know what it looks like in training camp right now. I don't know who's really stepping up to lead that team, but a guy who wins like that, there's a good chance he could be there. You look at Red Bull Salzburg and the time that he had there. I like the signing. However, I do want to see more DP level signings. You need 3 to compete in MLS these days. And I would really like to see them, bring somebody else in. Winston Reed, might be there along the back line. Could be a DP type loan deal, but they need to spend a little bit more money. They've got the talent as far as your MLS veterans, right? I think all of and you look at Inter Miami, and they're kind of similar in that there's a lot of MLS veteran talent that's there, and that's very important for these expansion sides. But they need to spend a little bit of money. You're coming in. This is the beginning. You're coming in. I like the way LAFC did it. I like the way Atlanta did it. They spent some money and they're winning right from the get-go. They were winning. I think we're going to see Nashville kind of take the Minnesota route, the slower route, the Cincinnati route, right, where you're not spending a ton of money, and see how it goes. I don't know, but I would like to see him bring in at least one more DP, if not both spots, to fill that up. But overall, I think the roster build has started out okay. Just would like to see a couple more big names. They do have some good young talent.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is they're kind of, in signing Hani Mukhtar as their first designated player, they're breaking that kind of recent MLS trend of going young South American or trying to find strikers who are playing in Mexico, as we've seen a lot this offseason. They went for a proven European player, and we'll see what dividends that could play. Maybe their next DP signing is a young South American playmaker that can help work with Mukhtar and set him up and feed him and distribute to him so he can find those goals. But at this point, you're right. Strong MLS veteran presence, European DP, young striker. It looks like it's a slow build. It looks like it's the Minnesota approach. You mentioned some youngsters, Mike. Who do you think can break out and become the next big thing for Nashville?
Yeah, so the first one on the list to me is Derek Jones, the guy that got in the trade from Philadelphia Union. This kid has been involved in the U.S. youth national teams at every level. And I remember watching his debut in Philly, and he played a great debut. I like this kid's talent. He's great on the ball. I think he can really take that step. I was waiting for him to take that step with Philadelphia. It never happened, but I'm really hoping it comes through Nashville. I think it really can. And a lot of social media, about this guy too, thinking that he's going to be the guy that's going to be the breakout youngster for this team. In the midfield, they've got options in the midfield right now, but I think he can get some minutes there. So that's kind of number one. Number two, I would say Miguel Nazarit, a Colombian under-23 center back. I think, they've got some MLS presence along that back line right now, the MLS experience. But I think that, the fact that this kid's young and a Colombian youth international, I think he'll be able to take over somebody like a Romney that's fighting for one of those spots along the back line. So also, the Rios, they had some time with the Nashville USL franchise came up. Maybe he's, one of those guys that could possibly come up. Also Leal, the winger from Saprissa, he might surprise some people. He could be, he could come into this league and do extremely well. He's a young talent, was playing well in the Costa Rican league. So maybe there's an opportunity there as well. So they've got a lot of young talent on this team. They're going to have a couple guys break out, that's for sure. It's just what kind of level are they going to break out, and are they going to, really be going to be able to help this team move forward?
Yeah, and again, it sounds like, a lot of question marks, a lot of, well, this guy could be good if that, this guy could be good if that, and I guess that's just the nature of an expansion team. But we're trying to put together a projected starting 11 here. We're gonna go with a 4-2-3-1, as that seems to be a very popular formation, and the way the players on the roster it kind of lends itself to that. So I'm thinking that you have Willis as your starting goalkeeper. He's got the most MLS experience, and the other two goalkeepers are relatively young as far as goalkeepers go. I think they're no more than 24 years old. With Joe Willis, maybe not the best MLS goalkeeper, but the most experienced. So he's going to get the start in our lineup. As far as a back four, Bekelis, Anibaba, Romney, and Lovitz. Again, we're not sold on Lovitz as a USMNT player. Probably is a better MLS left back, but again, coming as an experienced player, he'll probably get the start. Your two defensive midfielders, McCarty and Godoy, and then your three attacking midfielders, Akam, Leal, and Mukhtar, with Baji as the lone striker up front. So with that as kind of my projection, Mike, I'm going to ask you, where does Abu Danladi fit in? The player from Minnesota who has had, not a lot of offensive stats with Minnesota, but a lot of opportunity with Minnesota. Can he break into the starting lineup, and what other changes do you think you would make to that projected 11?
I think he could break in over Baji, but Baji's kind of that consistent guy who's going to give you like 7 to 10 goals every year. And Abu Dalati has proved he's had some moments of greatness with Minnesota, but he hasn't proven to be consistent. And I think right now with this roster that they have, they need that consistency out of Badgie. But he could take over there because he does have he's younger. I thought about him for the breakout youngster list, but I think he's already probably broken out. He was second. I think he was second overall draft pick, maybe even first overall. And I think he's kind of already there because he's had enough playing time as a starter. Another thing that I like is Bekeles, right? The left back, I believe it was. He came over. He's had a lot of appearances for Next Casa in Liga MX, and then as a Honduran international. 66 appearances with the national team for Honduras. He's been with them since 2010, so it's a veteran international presence there along that back line. So I think that will bode well for them, especially if they can pull that Winston Reed in there, which we can't put in the projected 11 because it's not officially official as of yet. But yeah, that's I think the biggest question too is David Accam. Will he get anywhere close to the type of form that he was in 2017 with Chicago, or 2016, 16 or 7? I think it was 16 with Chicago. If he can get back there and even close to that, then he's going to be huge. If he's the guy who went to Philadelphia and didn't do much, I think he scored like 1 goal all year. If he's the same guy that went to Columbus and didn't do anything, it's not going to work for them. So I think that's a big question mark for them. But yeah, a projected 11 on a squad that's never played a game before is a very tough thing to do. But we'll see how it goes. This is our best guess as of right now. Now I want to talk a little bit about the most important.
And really quick, sorry to Mike, just to really quick talk about the projected 11. Like we went with all like MLS vets. Obviously the exception, Hani Mukhtar and Leal. It wouldn't surprise me if Coach Gary Smith put a couple of the USL players, or at least one of the USL players, in the starting lineup, either as a nod to the fans or as someone who can help develop the style of play that he's already known for in the USL. So, again, who knows what will happen, what's going on in training camp. If anyone out there in Nashville has been privy to any of that information, shoot us a message, let us know, and we'll work it into some of our next episodes. But we went very MLS vet heavy in our starting lineup just because it's a known product for us. But go ahead, Mike. Most important player.
Yeah, so the notes that you put in on this one, I'm going to let you take this. Who's the most important player for Nashville?
Sure. So my notes state that the most important player is the stadium and the DP. So obviously Hani Mukhtar is brought in. They're going to build around your DPs. That's kind of the vision that you have for your team. Those are the kind of DPs that you sign. So we'll see how well Hani Mukhtar does. And if he does well, I think Nashville is going to have a respectable expansion season. But the other thing I say is the stadium. And the reason I say that is because it's come out recently that the newly elected mayor of Nashville is now going back and not allowing the demolition to begin on the stadium site. The prior mayor and his organization had worked out deals with Nashville SC and with the MLS that they would approve everything, that they'd get the stadium set to be built. And now the current mayor, at least according to a joint statement released by Nashville SC and the MLS, is now not granting the necessary permits and approvals for the team to begin demolition on the site and begin constructing the site. MLS told the mayor of Nashville the biggest reason, if not the only reason you got this franchise, is because you committed to building a soccer-specific stadium. So there has been some far-flung theories that if Nashville can't get a soccer-specific stadium built, that MLS could pull the franchise from Nashville. I think that is not going to happen, because then you're going to have a lot of hate directed against the mayor and against MLS. So I don't think they're going to pull the franchise, but it definitely does not look good for the league and for Nashville to have this kind of I don't know, you want to call it a scandal, to have this issue hanging over the league's head where, hey, yeah, we're going to build you a stadium, give us a franchise, here's your franchise. Oh, nope, now you're not going to get a stadium. Not a good look, Mike.
Yeah,
not a good look.
It's not happening. Not a good look at all, but it's not happening. They're not going to pull this team. Maybe I would think that they might do something like that if it was like a requirement for every club in MLS to have a soccer-specific stadium. But as you've been seeing with Atlanta,
supposedly it was.
Well, right? No, I know. But and you've got a team like who else just came into the league that that's a soccer-specific stadium.
Right.
Atlanta,
Cincinnati was playing at Nippert.
Right.
So Cincinnati was playing at Nippert, but they're building their own stadium.
Right. And look, the Chicago Fire. They had a soccer-specific stadium, and now they're moving to an NFL stadium in Soldier Field. So I maybe I would even contemplate this craziness if that was the case, but it's not. They've already done this. It's not happening. They're not revoking a team from Nashville. It's not going to happen. So rest easy, fans. There's no way. I mean, well, never say never, but I mean, I like the hashtag on this. And, since this video is going on YouTube, I'm not going to use the exact term, but build the effing stadium. Absolutely. Get it done. Look, Mayor, I understand his platform and what he's trying to say. He's not for, taxpayer-funded help to these corporations. I get it. I get that standpoint, but it's done. All right? It's been done. Things were put in place. I get you want to flip the previous administration stuff. That's what these politicians do. But build the damn stadium. Let's move on with it. The team is already here. There's already a bunch of fans who are extremely involved with this club and this organization. Get it done. Make it happen. And let's move forward with Nashville SC.
So if the stadium gets built, if the starting lineup goes well, if Mukhtar becomes a star goal scorer, if Akam finds his old form, if McCarty dips into the fountain of youth, if all these things happen, I think the ceiling for Nashville is that they end up with a low playoff seed. I don't think they're going to be competing for the top of the East, but I think the East is level enough. There's enough parity in the East, and if a few teams like Cincinnati and Montreal and Chicago continue to struggle, then a really good year for Nashville could find them in, maybe the 6th or 7th spot in the playoffs. Then again, there's the other side of the coin, where if everything just falls apart, if they can't get the roster to gel, if it's a resurgent Eastern Conference, if everything goes wrong, Baji regresses, Akam struggles, Mukhtar can't figure out the MLS travel schedule or what time zone he's in, then you get a repeat of FC Cincinnati last year, and you're flirting with one of the worst teams in MLS history. Or if there's stadium struggles and they end up playing at a local college, or they got to play 20 away games in the season or something like that, that could really have them repeat in FC Cincinnati. Those are my thoughts on it, Mike. What are your thoughts, and what should we expect from their opener?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I think the best case scenario is make the playoffs. I don't see it happening, but if everything goes right, they can get it done. And the floor, yeah, it's not pretty. It could happen. And then what to expect from the opener? It's Atlanta. This is the rivalry, right? Like, this is what they're tabbing to be, the Southeastern rivalry.
What about Orlando City, Mike?
Close enough.
What about Orlando City?
Not a rivalry. Remember?
What about Nashville, Chicago? You can already play off of some other sport rivalries there.
Oh,
Nashville, St. Louis. Wait till St. Louis gets in the league.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but they're trying to play it up as a rivalry. And of course, we have discussed that numerous times in the past about the manufactured rivalries for Heineken Rivalry Week of MLS. So. First game against Atlanta at home. Apparently, they've already sold a bunch of tickets. It's getting pretty close to sold out for that opener. So if you haven't bought tickets yet and you're a Nashville fan, do it. Get out there, fill that stadium up, and hope for the best for this season.